So which is the better album, Into the Grave or You Will Never See? This album has a lot in common with the rest of the early Swedish scene. It is easy to see how their relative geographical isolation shaped them into something very much of their own. The early members of Grave grew up on the island of Gotland, somewhere southeast of mainland Sweden. It's probably through this distance, far from the fertile ground of Stockholm, that the band was able to forge an identity that was to be their calling card. The sunlight production of Into the Grave binded them to their compatriot contemporaries, but the focus of the music was centered on something much more straightforward. Even by the standards of Stockholm, which were easily the most successful of the era for death metal, Grave was going for the jugular, quick and simple. The riffs, while lacking any traditional melody, were highly memorable if only for their simplicity. The vocals were about as low as a person could go without utilizing some sort of cheesy technology. The drums were full and active with lots of fills and a sense of urgency. Constant creativity within the rhythm, yet always pushing forward as if in dire need of reaching the end. This stuff is heavy and brutal and guttural and lots of other generic words that don't even do it justice. The bottom line is that Grave know how to write a song, and primitive and simple song, but it was still damn catchy and fun. Now Grave are back after a furious debut album Into the Grave with this new killer effort. You'll Never See album is effing brutal again. The album production is raw and clearer than on the first album, and the songwriting is more mature. The title track as the opener is the true killer song here. The riffs are awesome for some pure headbanging, and the extreme rotten break in the central part is incredible. The band was passing through a period of changes in the music style. There is always a brutality of the first album, but the tempo parts are less fast with an eye to the future evolution. Now and Forever is a good example of how guitar riffs are always fast, but the drummer slows down a bit, except for the bass drum. Probably they wanted to focus their attention on the extreme obscure melodies like In the Morbid Way to Die, with a good up tempo during the guitar solo. The refrains are always extremely catchy and true effing good for your neck. The growls are far more powerful and rotten than in their first effort, and they seem to come out directly from the underground. Obsessed starts with fast with some up-tempo parts, but to become obscurely misplaced with a fast bass drum. The tempo changes are numerous, and some synth sounds contribute in creating a true aura. The song Grief starts as a simple tempo, but then goes up a notch. The drum sound is raw, and the guitars are like chainsaw in their distortion, pure Swedish style. At this point, even my neck is begging for mercy with severing flesh. I can't even relax. The growls here are inhuman, and the whole song is fantastic with some arpeggios and tremolos in the final part. Brutally Deceased, already from the title, you should understand everything pure old school Swedish through with some hellish up-tempo sections. With the dark guitar lines in dismembering up-tempo in Christ Insanity, we reached the way out to this nightmare called You'll Never See, an incredibly obscure album, one of the gloomiest I've ever listened to, a pleasure for any death metal fan. Buy it without fear. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.